القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. This is probably the last Saturday that we are together for the month of Sha'ban, and we are entering Shahr Ramadan inshallah next week. So alhamdulillah, the masjid has great programs. As Hajj Mustafa mentioned, we're going to have Hajj Hijazi the first half, and the second half Hajj Dardashtian. And please come, there will be iftar every night inshallah, speech every night, programs every night. And how Hajj Mustafa mentioned, we didn't have the opportunity to get together last year. So please come here and take advantage, because when you do not take advantage of the majalis of Quran and speeches, sometimes Allah takes it away from us. And we do not want this to happen again, that God took away these commemorations, these gatherings that we had together. And obviously, these programs, they require your support, your financial support, your physical support. So I encourage all of you to help and contribute as much as you can. As you know, Shahr Ramadan is a month that things do not equate other months. Even if you give, a date to someone, or, iftar to someone, how much reward is there in Shahr Ramadan? If you contribute to the mosque and the masjid of God, how much you'll be rewarded. So take advantage. That help that you give is actually for yourself. In hadith, it mentions that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam mentions that a person that gives charity is in more need of that charity than that person receiving the charity. A lot of times when we give it, we think that, somebody else needs it more. No, we need it more. Because that khair, that goodness of that charity, that amal salih, the good deeds, will help you so much, will protect you from bala, will take your iman higher. It will be dhakhira, it will be something for you in the hereafter. So therefore, inshallah, donate generously, and please speak to Hajj Khanum Musavi, inshallah, for those that want to sponsor the programs or want to contribute in any other way. And also we need volunteers, obviously, those that can help out and organize and to be able to participate in any way or effort that inshallah, speak to her, inshallah. Because it is the end of month of Sha'ban, one of the great munajats that we have from Imam Ali alayhi salam is Munajat shabaniyah. Beautiful munajat. And even though the meaning of it is very high, is lofty, it's too high for my understanding, but from the apparent meaning of it, we're going to be talking about some of the beautiful points of this dua. Believe me, I don't know if any other religion has such beautiful du'as. I don't think so. I've researched other religions. I've seen other du'as. I don't know if there's any other better way to supplicate to God. And many times you see our du'as are taken to Sunni communities. For example, Sahifa Sajjadiyya of Imam Sajjad. They look at it, they're amazed. They're amazed at how Allah, and this is also one of those other amazing du'as from Imam Ali alayhi salam. And I'm going to go through it. That sometimes Christians, they read parts of Munajat al-Sha'bani and they're surprised. So I have never ever heard something like this. And we take it for granted. We take it for granted. This is the completion of religion. Imamat is the completion of religion. So you should see the result, and the du'as should be the most complete than any other religion. And we don't take advantage of it. So we're going to go over some of these lines. But before, I want to talk about something, because the end of Sha'ban is here, and Shahr Ramadan is also another month of du'a. Let's talk beginning about the importance of du'a. What does dua even mean? Why do we even do it? One of the beautiful verses of the Quran that talks about dua, and Allama Tabatabain Al-Mizan mentions many points about this verse, many tafsiri points, is 2:186 in Surah Baqarah 186. وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي, and when my servant ask you concerning me, few tafsiri points. One, here you have different forms in Arabic. Here it is the mukhatab, meaning I, me. When ibadi, my servants, anni, about me. Allah is speaking directly and using the first person here to say you're asking me, you're talking to me, you want to worship me. That's the first thing. Directly he's talking himself. Not when they ask him, like huwa Allahu ahad, like he, God, is in the third person. This is first in the first person. When they ask me. And then second of all, my servants, not nas. It's very, in a way that's affectionate. My servants, my ibad, my slaves. When they ask me, when my servants ask me, that's the second point, then verily فَإِنِّي قَرِيب. It doesn't say, answer to them, قُل إِنِّي قَرِيب. It says, إِنِّي قَرِيب. Without even saying قُل, say that I am close. Immediately Allah says, أَنَا قَرِيب. فَأَنِّي قَرِيب. I'm close. Meaning that qurba of God has always been there when you're making dua, when somebody is asking and does su'al, because su'al here means question in Arabic, but su'al and in this verse obviously means to ask. When someone does su'al, it means to ask. When they ask, tell them that I am close. I have not gone anywhere. When you're talking to me, it's not as if you have to wait for me to answer. Then it says another tafsiri point, ujibu is fi'l al-mudari, meaning I always answer in the present and in the future. I'm always answering your prayers. I'm always answering. I'm close. I'm your Lord. I'm speaking as myself to you. When you ask me, my servant, I am close. I answer the prayer of the person that does doubt, the person that calls upon me. So they shall should answer my call and believe in me. So إذا دعاني فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يرشدون, so that they can be guided in the right way. So you see about the promise that God has given to answer our dua, the closeness and proximity that God is with us. Never think, my friends, brothers and sisters, that God is far. Sometimes we are far from God. He is always present. We are far from Him through our sins, through our polluted heart. He is always present and He is always answering our du'as. So the greatness of talking to God is so important that other verses in the Quran say this, and this is an amazing fact, that if you do not do dua, if you don't supplicate, God doesn't even care for you. He likes us because we make dua. The Quran says this. The reason God likes us humans is because we do dua. If there wasn't for dua, He wouldn't like us anymore. So look at this verse. We say, thank you so much. قُلْ مَا يَعْبَأْ بِكُمْ رَبِّي لَوْلَا دُعَاءَكُمْ. Say, my Lord would not care for you were it not for your prayer. He cares for us because of our dua. Why does God care for us because of our dua? What's inside dua that is so special? Why does God emphasize, I don't care for you if you don't do dua? What's inside this type of worship that we call it mukhul ibadah? We call it the center of worship, the highest form of worship. What's so special about dua? What happens when you make dua? Allah. Very good to ask. What for us? Why is it good for us to make dua? Very good. Inside dua, there are two things happening, you can say. One is you make dua. Why? Who makes dua? People that believe in God. People that love Him. People that believe, one, that He is capable and answering and powerful. It means already you're testifying that you have a powerful Lord. Or else you wouldn't make dua. You ask someone that is capable. You wouldn't ask someone that's weak. Would you ask someone that's weak? No. So the first step is you're acknowledging that He is your Lord. He's powerful. He's capable. He's merciful. He will give you. You believe that He will give you. That you already are saying you have husn al-dhan with God. You have a favorable opinion about God. That's one thing already. You're making dua and saying, God, I know you will solve my problems. I know that you are capable of it. And I know you will because you love me. Already, that's dua is so important because of one. Two, that comes to ma'rifatullah. The other part is ma'rifatun nafs, and understanding ourselves. When you make dua, at the same time you're saying this, that I am incapable, that I need your help, that if you don't help me, what am I going to do? That is what you're testifying to, your ubudiyat. So dua, very simply, you're doing two things: the mawlawiyat of God, the lordship of God, a powerful, a capable, a loving God, and at the same time, my ubudiyat, that I am an abd, and I am a servant, I am a slave. And if you do not help me, who's going to help me? That I am in need, that you are ghani, that you don't have any need whatsoever, but I am faqir and I am in need. That's why dua is mukhul ibadah. And that's why those that don't make dua, they're terrible people. You know, everyone likes to make dua. I was making salat the other day in a neighborhood, our cousins, I call them our cousins, the Jews, because they're from Ishaq, we're from Ismail, our Jewish cousins in Beverly Hills. The other day I had to do salat outside. And sometimes you think when you're doing salat, people don't, it's going to be a weird feeling outside in the streets. Sometimes you're forced. But my recommendation is get a nice prayer mat that's soft. It makes you feel like you're at home. Get a nice prayer mat. I was praying and they're walking by. And I thought probably, sometimes, people are talking. They might say something or whatever. But this time I was walking and they said, pray for world peace. They're walking by and seeing me do salah. So pray for world peace. Why? Because everyone in general, especially in this country, they like prayer. Everyone needs it. Either they're Christian, they're Jewish, they're Muslim, not Muslim. They like dua. They believe in dua. They always say, pray for me. Right? It's not something bad. That's an inherent and fitri belief that we all have, this yearn. And psychologists call this about the religious part of human, or spiritual part of human beings. That there is a religious section in human beings. Love to call God, love to worship Him. And that's why everyone is looking to make dua. But we have the best dua. I will tell you this time and time again, we have the most detailed and the most amazing du'as from Ahlul Bayt. I think if we just put these du'as, this is just enough to be able to prove the walayat and the haqq of Ahlul Bayt. Just the ibadat that is left, these treasures that we have and we don't take advantage of. Another thing that I want to tell you about dua in worship, when you have hadith, because these du'as we have are ma'thur. Does anybody know what du'a ma'thur means? Ma'thur. Athar comes from athar, asar, ma'sur in Farsi. Ma'thur means it comes from the imams. It comes from the Prophet or somebody else. Du'a ma'thur means it's not from me. It's good to make dua yourself, and there's no problem in this. You go home privately and you make dua. It's very good. But why is it important to read the du'as that are from the infallibles? Why is it important to read their du'as? How come we can't stick only with our du'as? Why do we have to read their du'as? Because their du'as are lessons for us, to teach us, one, the mannerisms of dua, how to ask God. If they didn't teach us, we wouldn't know. If I ask you right now, write a dua for me to God, how short would it be? Make it as lengthy as you can. You would stop at one page probably. You can't make more. Half a page. And it would probably be more with cars, homes, and iPhones, and that's just how people are. So my in-laws got this car, I need this car now. I look bad, they have a nice car, I need it. Or Allah, they have this home. All our du'as, a lot of it is this way. But look at the irfan and spirituality of these du'as. Look at the lessons in there. And this is my point. When you look at hadith, and we have been studying in the Hawza, we study hadith, our fiqh, most of it comes from hadith. We have maybe 500-600 verses of Quran that talk about ahkam. Most of our lifestyle or ahkam comes from hadith. And we have to analyze it and stuff. But hadith is limited to one thing. That is, the imam is answering that person's level. If a normal person comes, the imam is going to give a normal answer. He's not giving an answer from Mullah Sadra to him. He's not going to understand. He says, I asked you the question. Mullah Sadra didn't ask you the question. I asked you. So the imam will limit that type of knowledge for that person or that question that's asked. A lot of our hadith are question and answers. Question and answer, because they are like the Kaaba. They are like, the house of God, the Kaaba. You come to them, and there's that guidance for your level. But if you're at a high level, yes, then they'll teach you very high levels. And actually, if you look at the hadith, it even talks about not sharing all of our knowledge to everyone. Not sharing it. That even some of the ahkam we have, the imams did not share it. It was only for followers of Ahlul Bayt. If they want to learn the ahkam, true rulings, they first have to be a follower of Ahlul Bayt, then I will teach him. I'm not just going to teach him ahkam if you don't follow us. First, you have to accept us. So hadith is limited to the amount of ma'rifah and knowledge that person has. A lot of times, people that ask questions, they weren't at that high level. But dua now, when the imam is making dua to God, is it limited to that audience or not? Is the imam making dua and going to limit the type of ma'rifah and knowledge that he's going to only give to that person? No, there's no more limitations. There's no more limitations when it comes to du'as. That's why that irfan, that ma'rifah, that knowledge that you get in du'a, sometimes you might not even get in hadith, in normal hadith. Because it's imam speaking to God, no one in between to bring the level down. No one in between. It's their level, their highest level, and speaking to God. So if you want what's inside the imam, what the imam really knows, what the imam truly feels, what the imam really believes, and you look at the du'as, then you understand the imam. Not only a person that comes and says, this happened, that happened, help me, and they'll answer just to that level, that's it. And we'll end with this. Now we're going to do tafsir, inshallah, of the shabaniyah. Another thing is this. Sometimes people are too arrogant to make dua. This happens sometimes with us. Is it true? Sometimes I think I don't need to make dua. Did that ever happen to you? I don't need it. One type is a small type, is being forgetful. You're arrogant, but you're forgetful. You have a pill, you go to the doctor, he gives you a pill, and you forget to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You forget to say Huwa Shafi. In reality, Allah is curing me. God is curing me. Can anything else cure me but God? That would be shirk, that would be polytheism. Even when you get a prescription from the doctor, inshallah, it's the right prescription and the doctor did his job, with the medical system that we have today. But inshallah, it's the right medicine, it's good for you. You say that Allah, you still say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa huwa shafi. If he doesn't want me to get shafa, then nobody can give me shafa. That's one step of arrogance. Look at our own lives. When you have rizq from God, do you really say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, that Allah, you are my razaq, that this came from you, and if you don't give me rizq, nobody can give me rizq? Do we really believe that? So there's this constant need to make dua and permission from God, because we believe that everything that happens in this world is with His permission. And if you believe you're self-sufficient, then you're arrogant. You're following the path of shaitan. If you think you don't need God anymore. Do you need God to even breathe? Yes. Just to inhale and exhale. I need to ask Allah. I'm getting permission from Him. This is His realm. Everything is in His command. Or else it will be shirk. That's one form. The other form is that people, they don't make du'as because they're so used to the natural world and cause and effect. And they say, no, I don't even need to make dua. If you do this, this is the outcome. You have a good business plan, you'll be rich. You study hard, you'll get your medical degree. If you learn this science, you're engineer, and this is how it's going to work. They're used to cause and effect so much that they forget that God even exists. They just believe in God as a creator, not as a Lord and Rabb. And I'm asking you, can you believe that this world is controlled without God? Even if you believe in cause and effect, which we do, but we say all of this is because God has created it, because He is regulating it. He has sustained, He has made all these elements that are in chemistry we read. He has made all these laws that are in physics. These are His laws. And whenever He wants to give an exception to these laws, He can. And if ever He wants this thing not to happen, how many people we had over and over, they had the best business plan, but they failed. How many geniuses we had that they even almost failed. They say, if this project didn't work right, I would have been doomed. So close. So can we say that we don't need God? That's the second level. People that are so used to the normal cause and effective things that they think that, I don't really need to make, which is wrong, which is even a higher part of arrogance in our lives. The third and final is that someone becomes so arrogant that they completely think that they will resolve problems myself. I don't even need to make dua. What's the problem? I'll go and solve it myself. I don't even need God's help. And that is the worst type. That is a person that is mustakbir in dua. Look at the Quran. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ أَدْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ عَنْ عِبَادَتِي سَيَدْخُلُونَ جَهَنَّمَ دَاخِرِينَ. And those that are disdainful and those that are arrogant in my worship, he will enter hell in utter humiliation. A person that is so arrogant says, I don't even need God. I have a problem in my life, but I do not want to turn to Him. It says, yes, they are so arrogant in worship that Allah will take them to the hellfire. And that is the worst type of arrogance when it comes to dua. So brothers and sisters, what I'm saying is there's these stages. Of course, we're not at this stage. I don't think anybody comes to the masjid and says, I don't even need God, or else we wouldn't be here. But those other levels of relying too much on cause and effect in the normal world, yes, we should fulfill the cause and effect and do things in the normal process as much as we can. Study, work hard, have a plan, yes. But at the same time, trust in God, ask Allah for help as a muwahhid. And the third, every part, if we can, some things we forget to ask from Allah, increase it. When we drive in the car, and a lot of it is saying, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Allah, I'm asking you for safety, inshallah. If you don't allow me to even drive to the mosque, I will not reach it. Everything, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Every small action, you keep adding it more and more and more, and your tawakkul and your asking Allah becomes more and more and more. Let's get into Munajat al-shabaniyah. Let's recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahu. So keep these notes, things that I mentioned, it will benefit you in Shahr Ramadan. And you'll notice why one of the best worships, type of worship is making dua. That's why Shahr Ramadan is full of very lengthy du'as. Very long Joshan Kabir, for example, and Dua Abu Hamza, and different du'as, because it's so beneficial for us. Let's go through some of these lines of this dua. For Imam Ali alayhi salam, beautiful, beautiful dua, Munajat al-shabaniyah. If somebody hasn't read this dua yet, we have about a week. You could read it other times too. But if you haven't read Munajat al-shabaniyah, look at it. At least look at some of the lines, the highlights. I'm going to give you some of the highlights, in the next, how long should I speak for? 3 hours, 2 hours? Is that enough? Or do you want to connect it to Shahr Ramadan? Inshallah, we'll just keep talking. One of the ulama, he was upset with the Shah, and he was in the minbar, and he just stayed on the minbar so long to oppose the Shah. And people would throw him fruit and food, and he would just stay there and eat and keep speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking. So if you want, we can keep speaking and speaking to Shahr Ramadan, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. The dua of Munajat starts with this important thing. Salawat. Make your du'as, I call it the salawat sandwich. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Make your du'as in a salawat sandwich. What's a salawat sandwich? Begin with salawat, end with salawat, and put your du'a somewhere, hide it in between. Hide it somewhere in there between the good parts of the sandwich. Inshallah, Allah will accept it, because a dua that at the beginning is mustajab, the end is mustajab, inshallah the middle will be mustajab. So you see the adab of Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa jafarja. Wasma du'a'i idha da'awtuk. You listen to my supplication when I pray to you. The first thing we learn from Imam Ali alayhi salam, attributed to him, listen to my prayer, God. Does he have to listen? Does this listen mean God won't hear? He hears everything. He knows everything. That's not talking about that. To hear wasma du'ai means answer my prayer. Make it worthy. Because some people, they make dua and Allah doesn't hear their prayers. Are there people that they pray and it doesn't get counted? Yes. Look at what some of the du'as we have. In after Salat al-Asr, in Taqibat and Namaz al-Asr, we have Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min nafsi la tashba. I ask from a self that will never be satisfied, a nafs. Wa min qalbin la yakhsha, a heart that will never have humility. Wa min ilmin la yanfa, knowledge that does not avail, benefit. Wa min salatin la turfa. وَمِن دُعَاءٍ لَا يُسْمَعْ. I seek protection from a supplication that is not responded. There are people, they make du'as and it's not even heard. Nothing happens. Because of the sins they do, because of the type of person they are. They make du'a and it's as if it just hits the wall, that's it. This is some du'as like that, we learn from this. So Imam, this is from du'a. وَمِن دُعَاءٍ لَا يُسْمَعْ. So there are du'as that are la yusma. There are prayers that are not heard. Because of that person, because of what they have done to themselves. Do you think, for example, the dua of Yazid will be heard? No. Actually, the opposite will happen whenever he happens. So there are du'as that are not heard. We ask Allah, first thing is adab. Listen to my dua, please, Allah. I'm going to ask you something. And imagine, when your kids sometimes come to you, I'm going to ask you something, don't say no. Allah, I'm going to ask you something. See, humility. I'm going to ask you to make dua. Don't say no to me. Hear it. Hear my dua. وَاسْمَعْ نِدَائِي إِذَا نَدَيْتُكَ وَاقْبَلْ عَلَيْنَا إِذَا نَجَيْتُكَ. And accept me or turn towards me when I call you, when I submit to you. Turn towards me. Pay attention to me. Maybe I don't deserve God. I don't deserve you to pay attention to me because I have been a sinner. Maybe with all the fada'il and bounties you've given me, I don't deserve for you to listen, but please hear, listen to me. Do you see the humility of Imam Ali? This is Imam Ali speaking to him and God. Shouldn't we be humble then in our du'as? Shouldn't we ask Allah first, listen to my du'a, look at me, pay attention to me when I listen? فَقَدْ هَرَبْتُ إِلَيْكَ. I have escaped towards you and stood before you. I have left everything and I've gone towards you. I don't have hope in anything else, God. I only have hope in you. وَوَقَفْتُ بَيْنَ يَدَيْكَ مُسْتَكِينًا لَكَ. Showing submission, I am standing in front of you. I don't have hope in anybody else, you could say. So how much are we learning? Imam Ali alayhi salam didn't even make one dua yet. We can say that maybe dua is just to listen to me. He didn't even say that line that he wanted yet. But he's teaching us the mannerisms that when you make dua to God, ask him to turn to you. Ask him to listen to you. Tell him that I have turned towards you, that I don't have hope with anybody else. I am turning towards you. And then we have here other parts. Ilahi, in haramtani faman dhal ladhi yarzuqani. My Lord, if you deprive me of rizq, sustenance, then who else can ever provide me with sustenance? You are my raziq. If you don't give me rizq, I will starve. Nobody else will give me my rizq. Do we really believe that? Do we have that level of tawheed? That God, if you do not give me my rizq, who else is going to give it to me? Or do you say, no, my check is coming next month, I already know. He mailed it. He said he's mailed it and they already mailed it, or it's direct deposit. No, I have my tawakkul is in direct deposit. Alhamdulillah, the banking system's working great, and I know my rizq will come. Is that how we are? Or like this, Ilahi in haramtani faman dhal ladhi yarzuqani. If you deprive me, then who is going to provide for me? These are all I said. That those other ways are just means that God wants for us. But He is in control of the universe, or else it's shirk, it's polytheism. وَإِن خَذَلْتَنِي فَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَنْصُرَنِي. And if you forsake me, then who else will help me? You can only help me. So you need a strong tawheed. If you want to be able to talk to God properly, you need ma'rifah. You need, and you look at the tawheed of Ali alayhi salam in these du'as. إلهي كيف آيس من حسن نظرك لي بعد مماتي. One of the fears that we all have is death. Inshallah we do. We're afraid of death. What would happen right now? We all died. What would happen? Or you died right now, or I died right now. Isn't that a fear? But look at this type of trust that Imam Ali is showing us to have. And this is good news for us. That my Lord, how can I despair of your benevolent attention towards me after my death? وَأَنْتَ لَمْ تُوَلِّنِي إِلَّا الْجَمِيلَ فِي حَيَاتِي. While you have always been good to me throughout my lifetime. How can I have despair about the hereafter? We're talking about the punishment. We're talking about God being the witness and the judge at the same time. But how can I have despair when you were so kind to me in my life? When you took care of me in my life? Brothers and sisters, did Allah take care of you or not? In your lives, did He take care of you? Was He kind to you? I am talking to myself, do I even deserve it? But He was still kind to me. He still blessed me. The Lord of the hereafter is the Lord of this dunya. Just as He has taken care of you in this dunya, He will take care of you in the hereafter. We're learning from this. Isn't this good news? We're learning from Imam Ali alayhi salam. The same Lord that we look at through all the balas that could have happened to us, all the bad things that could have happened to us. And the worst is misguidance. That He selected us to talk to Him, to have His religion, to come to His house. That same Lord will be the same Lord in the hereafter, that He will accept you. Because if He was going to deprive you of the hereafter, why would He bring you to His house? Why would He bring you to the masjid? So that He could deprive you and punish you? So we're learning that you were jameel to me, you were beautiful to me, you were kind to me in this world. So how can I have despair in the hereafter? And this is the last line, inshallah, we'll say, and we'll end. This is one of the lines, I believe, that I was in Qom once, and I had some recordings about a comparison between Christianity and Islam in terms of the family. Family structure in Islam and Christianity. And this institute, they already did the research of that book, alhamdulillah, so they just gave it to me. I would look at it and I would give the speeches, recordings. It says, once a priest came to Qom, and they have obviously Qom and Vatican and other places, they have relations. So he said a religious figure from the Christians came, and he saw this part of dua, I believe it's dua Munajat shabaniyah. And he saw this part that Imam Ali alayhi salam, I'm going to read it, I'm going to say that. This part what Imam Ali said, he looked at it and he began to cry. And he says, I've never ever seen a dua like this. I've never ever seen a supplication like this. I'm telling you, from other religions it doesn't exist. Because Ali alayhi salam, yes, Ali alayhi salam is incomparable after the Prophet of Islam to anybody else. Only he can make such beautiful dua. Imam Zainul Abidin, with all the worship he had, said this worship is nothing compared to the worship of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Ilahi, this is so much, I'm not saying this to give you a green light to sin. I'm saying this for those difficult times when a person sins and wants to believe in the rahmat and mercy of Allah to come back to Him. To come back. If you believe it this way, if you recite this, I believe you will always be guided. Ilahi, in akhadtani bijurmi, akhadtuka ba'afwik. My Lord, if you punish me by my offense, akhadh is to take. You take me by my sins, but I'm going to do something. I'm going to put you in the corner. I'm going to cling on to your af and your pardon. You take me by my sins, okay. Are my sins more or your rahmah and mercy? Which one's more? Even if I'm the worst sinner in the entire masjid, the worst sinner in the entire world, are my sins more or Allah's rahmah that's wasi'at kull shay? Ala kull shay. That takes and encompasses everything. Which one is more? So Allah, if you take me by my sins, and I know I'm a sinner, of course this is Imam Ali being humble, I'm going to take you by your af. You take me by my jurm and af. Take this statement and bring it in the day of judgment. See if you'll be free from the hellfire or not. Bring it, take in the judgment, said Imam Ali says, Ilahi in akhadtani bajurmi, akhadtuka ba'afwik. If you take me by my sins, I will take you by your forgiveness. وَإِنْ أَخَذْتَنِي بِذُنُوبِي, and if you take me by my dhunub, another way for sins or offenses, أَخَذْتُكَ بِمَعْرِفَتِكَ. Imam Ali knows how to talk to God. This doesn't even come to our minds to talk to Him this way. It doesn't come to our minds. You're going to punish me. You look at my sins. I'm going to take hold of your rahmah. I want to see if your rahmah is wasat, kull shay or not. In this part, it says the priest read this part and began to cry. وَإِنْ أَخَذْتَنِي النَّارِ وَإِنْ أَدْخَلْتَنِي النَّارِ أَعْلَمْتُ أَهْلَهَا أَنِّي أُحِبُّكَ. And if you put me in the fire, I shall declare to its inmates that I love you. Brothers and sisters, when somebody is a little bit mean to us, we get upset with them, don't we? Somebody criticized me, said, Abbas, you didn't speak well tonight. I said, what did you say? I'm just joking. Says, Abbas, you didn't do the salat right. I didn't like your salat. Said, Abbas, I don't like your clothes. Said, Abbas, I don't like how you look like. I go, who are you? You get in their face, right? Now imagine if someone were to punish me, someone were to hit me. Worst comes to worst, and when it comes to God, you say, okay, God, I'm just going to be quiet. But honestly, anybody here has this much love of God that Imam Ali alayhi salam has. If you do, tuba lakum, that if you go into hellfire, the hellfire that is made of wuqudaha nasa wal hijara, people and stones, that hellfire, God forbid you enter that hellfire, are burning in pain. It's not like punishment of this world. They say if a part of the fire of the hellfire reaches this world, the other part of the world will boil. The heads and minds will boil. That hellfire. You enter that hellfire, and instead of saying, screaming and yelling and stop, right? You're saying, I love you, God. I love you. The only Ali alayhi salam and Prophet Muhammad could say such a thing. That's why he read this and he began to cry. In a case of extreme punishment from God, the love of Ali alayhi salam is so high that he will never cease to say, I love you. I will tell, it says, I'lam. I will tell everyone in the hellfire, everyone screaming and crying, everyone that I love you, God. So therefore we see that these types of ma'rifat and knowledge that the Imams have is so much higher than the tawheed that we have. And it's encouragement for us to, this is the way you talk to God, this is the way you believe in God, and this is the way you love God unconditionally. Inshallah, we can reach such a position, inshallah, through the love of Ali alayhi salam. If you love Imam Ali, inshallah, you'll become like him in dua. Please recite salat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajafar. Do we have any questions, my friends? If I know the answer. سوالی دارید؟ ببخشید. can say it in Farsi too if you want. I will be here in the LA area if anybody has any concerns, or there'll still be the consultations, inshallah. And if anybody has any questions, I'll be in the area, inshallah. You can reach out to me, inshallah. I'll find you, or you'll find me if I know the answer, inshallah. Inshallah, Ramadan, I'll be the second half. I'll be at Yasin, inshallah. But come here, because this is here different. Come to Dr. Hijazi and come to Awaya Dardashtian. Very good scholars and good people, inshallah. Come here. But I'll be it's going to be limited. Yasin will be 4 weeks. There'll be 4 days, another 6 days. The weekends towards the second half, inshallah. They will be coming, inshallah. Yes. The first half, some centers here. There's another center here that I'll be in, Simi Valley possibly, and maybe other places we're talking about. But if not, I'll be at my home, just trying to fast. That's it. Yeah. Keep us in your du'as this Shahr Ramadan, and inshallah after Ramadan I will see you more. Inshallah, please recite salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, our line of communication would be our internet. Those of you that member of Masjid Al-Nabi, fine, you receive internet, what time, when the schedule is start, when it's finished, all these things you would be informed. If you don't, if you're not subscribed, go to hijrat.info and register your name, then it come regularly, even after Ramadan. So I think that's the way of communication, because sometimes something change, so we have to have that one. Thank you to Hajar. We conclude the program for tonight, unless anybody. 2 nights of the Ramadan is already taken. There is a paper on the wall. When you go on the door of the other one, you can write your name, just spell your name, or you just put anonymous. But please, it happened one time. If you promise, if you write your name there, you are obligated to. Right? Just don't write your name and then disappear. It's the content, and then what happened? Salawat. Anybody wants to do the ziyarat? Any volunteer? I do a short form, so yeah, long one. Short one. Assalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. Assalamu alayka ya Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. Assalamu alayka ya Fatimah al-Zahra Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen. السلام عليكم يا حسن والحسين سيد الشباب أهل الجنة. السلام عليكم يا جميع المرسلين. السلام عليكم أيها المعصومين والشهداء والصالحين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر.